Today we'll be covering Introduction to Relational Database using Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, where did database come from? Data used to be stored in file systems. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen Excel files stored in file systems with copies of copies causing duplication of the exact same data, and also many different versions because so many people work on the same Excel files and they end up versioning in kind of a strange way where nobody knows which one is the latest one or the correct one in the worst case. And in order to resolve that issue, a database was created. And first one was the network database, which basically linked data files together. Then a year later, a hierarchical database was introduced, which linked data files together in an org chart-like fashion. Then several years later, Dr. Codd of IBM introduced the relational concept with relations and relationships, basically tables and table joins. Since then, the relational model has been the gold standard of database management system. There are some newer databases, such as document databases, columnar databases, and so on. But in this presentation, I'll be talking about a relational database called SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, so a relation is basically a table with rows and columns. As you can see, Michael Johnson's in the first row, John Williams on the second row, Denise Jones on the third row, and they're each uniquely identified by this column, the person ID. So Michael Johnson is person 1, John Williams is person 2, and so on. And relationship, as opposed to relation, is basically just a connection between two tables. So these tables are connected by this particular relationship, right? They have common columns, address ID on both of them. And so this is a person table that we're already familiar with, but now we have an additional column called address ID. So Michael Johnson is uniquely identified by person ID 1. And he also happens to have address ID 3, which corresponds to, according to this connection, to this address ID 3. So Michael Johnson lives on 8400 Hill Street. So this is basically how a relationship works in relational databases. Okay, so how do you use this concept? By using a language called structured query language, also known as SQL or SQL. It really doesn't matter which how you say it. It's really the same thing. There are 3 different kinds of SQL, such as data definition language, data manipulation language, and data control language. Data definition language basically allows you to make tables, delete tables, and change tables. The terms are a little bit different. In order to delete table, you have to drop it. In order to change a table, you have to alter it. The syntax is a little bit different from the kind of language that we usually speak. But anyway, and the data manipulation language allows you to manipulate data, such as viewing data, which is called select, and such as inserting a new row into a table and updating an existing row, deleting an existing row. As for data control language is concerned, this is basically a domain of database administrators. Developers and report writers don't get to use this at all. This data control language basically allows you to grant privileges to do certain things, such as creating tables and things like that. It also allows you to revoke the previously given permissions. Okay, so let's say we have a person table like this, and we happen to run a select statement, which is one of the data manipulation language. So let's say you select person first name and person last name from the person table, which looks just like this, and the result should look like this. So this is basically the same as the second and the third column of the table. As you can see, it's lacking the person ID because we didn't include person ID in the select statement. So this is basically how it works, and I'll be demonstrating this, but In the next video, I'll have to install it so that you guys can see how to install it, and hopefully you guys will do it. And also install demo database called AdventureWorks. If you already have it, you can just skip to the third video. But if you don't, you might want to watch the next video. All right, thank you.